All right, team, let's go ahead and talk about this training, which is going to be about customizing the template. So up until this point, you should have gone ahead and actually imported the template, and specifically the template that we have designed for the community that we think is going to be the most applicable for 80 to 90% of you out there. And then you should also have a good idea of, okay, hey, you know what? A rough idea of how the funnel builder and the website builder actually works. And now we're going to actually go ahead and get into customizing the template. Okay. So if you remember in a previous training, we did talk about renaming that template so that way it is more aligned with what your brand name is. Again, it's not public facing, but for yourself, it's going to be easier for you to identify in all of your websites. So we are here under sites, websites. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and click into it. And what you're going to see on here is that this website that we've gone ahead and prepared for you is made up of 2 pages. Okay. So the first page is the main page, and we've gone ahead and created it so that way it's a 1-pager, very, very simple, very easy to go ahead and get started with. But that way you can go ahead and have a very professional brand presence online, which is extremely important. Okay. And so that's going to be number 1. And then number 2, this is going to be the link tree that you're going to be able to then link on all of your different social media platforms. And we're going to go ahead and walk you through all of that. Again, all of this is so absolutely critical when you're getting started in your business. So that way you have a very elegant, very great brand presence, because especially in today's world, the very first thing that a customer who's going to be dealing with you is going to look at is, hey, what's their brand presence? And that's exactly what we're going ahead and helping you set up now. Okay. So inside of this training, let's talk about customizing the template. Once you're actually in the website, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're all going to go ahead and click on edit. Now it's up to you if you want to click on edit, and that'll go ahead and change the main page right there. Or if you want to go ahead and click on edit in a new tab, that is completely up to you. Okay. So in this case, once we open up the editor, now this should look familiar because it's the exact same editor that we've talked about in the previous tech tutorial. But now what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through all of the important pieces that you need to actually go in and change. Okay. So the very first thing is that in the actual navigation menu, which is right over here, which is this top one right here, what you need to do is you need to actually go in and change your logo. Okay. Now how you're going to go ahead and do this, I'm going to expand this a little bit so you can see a little bit more here, okay, is that we have this element. Now this element right here is an image element, okay, and if you remember from the tech tutorial, we talked about all of the different elements that there are. This image element is actually located right over here, which is the actual logo for the actual company, right, for your actual business. And so what you got to do is you click on that, and then you got to come over here to image options, and you got to go ahead and click right over here, which is this image button, okay, and then what you're going to do is, because obviously your brand name is probably not BodyForge, and so you got to go ahead and change this, right? So you're going to click on this image button, and then when you click on this image button, it's going to say upload from media library or create image using AI. Now, it's up to you if you want to do this, however, if you want to use AI, but that's the reason why we walked you through creating your logo previously, so that way you could actually have it prepared, right? So there is a method to this madness in how we're building each of the layers of your infrastructure. So you go over to upload from media library, and then what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to go ahead and upload the actual logo. Now, if you haven't actually downloaded your logo from Canva, you are going to want to make sure that you do that as well, right? So let's say, for example, you have your Canva file, right? Whatever your logo might actually be. So you have your logo, okay? And then what you're going to go ahead and do here is, let's say, for example, the logo is, I don't know, let's just say it's going to be this one right here, right? Or we need a 1 line. So right here, what you do is you go over to share, you then go over to download, and then you go ahead and download it. PNG is perfectly fine, but you probably want it to be, let's say, a transparent background because of the fact that you want it to match really well in the background. And then all you do is you select pages, and then you just make sure that you're selecting the current page, which is page number 9, right? So page number 9 right here, you want to make sure that that is the one that is selected over here. So you go over here, page number 9, okay, done. And then you go ahead and click download, okay? Once you have that downloaded, you save that to maybe your desktop, to your downloads folder, something like that. You then go ahead and upload that over here, and it is going to show up as a logo file right over here. Once you have that, you'll then be able to just go ahead and click on it. So let's say, for example, we go over here to upload file, we go over here to BodyForge logo, and then you'll see it shows up right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and double click on it, and you'll see that in this case, it actually doesn't show up. Now, why doesn't it show up? The reason it's not showing up is because my logo is actually black and it's on a black background. And so I might have to come back over here to Canva. I might even duplicate this, right? I might make this a black background. I might go ahead and select all over here, and then I'll go over here and make it white, right? And then I go back over here to share. I then go over to download. I then go back over here and select the page, which is page number 10 now. I then go ahead and download it one more time. It's going to download from here. And then once it downloads, I'm then going to come back over here, and I'm going to go back to the images. And no, I don't want to use AI because I've already gone ahead and created mine. I'm going to upload. And when I upload, I'm going to go ahead and put that there just like that. And it doesn't show up weird. It shows up weird, right? Why does it show up weird? Okay, well, we got to go ahead and mess around with this now. Okay, so we say, okay, this is going to be, let's say the height is probably messed up on there. And what we got to do is we probably got to mess around with the height. Now, the other thing is that it looks like maybe it's a little bit too wide, right? So we actually have to go in and edit it. So you see, all of these are kind of small issues that will show up. And I'm happy that this is happening live so you can see what this looks like. And so that's the reason why I might end up having to go into the actual file, right? So I go over to downloads. Once I go over to downloads, I might have to then crop this. So in this case, I got to crop this. And so again, these are all like the small things that can kind of make a difference. Then see, I go ahead and crop it. I then go ahead and hit save. Now, again, if you don't know how to do some of these tech tutorials, you can try to Google it. You can try to YouTube it. You can reach out to the community because there's plenty of people who have done this for sure. And this is a skill that you will be able to actually learn as you're going through this entire process, right? And so when I go to upload, unfortunately, it looks like, there we go, upload, there we go. And then I go ahead and double click on it. Boom, just like that. So it's a little bit smaller now, right? So now I can go in and I can adjust the width and the height of the logo and make it look a little bit more all snazzy, okay? So it looks all very good over there. So beautiful. That would be the logo, and that would be the very first thing that we're gonna go ahead and have to edit, which is gonna be the logo image in the actual navigation menu. Beautiful. Now, after that, we are then going to have to go into the next section here and update the actual name of the company, right? So we're gonna, in this case, let's say this is called Elite Wellness Coaching. Okay, so Elite Wellness Coaching. If you want to do come train with us, that's fine. You can leave it there. Again, we've tried to make this as what they call white label or gray label as possible. So that way, as much as possible, it's already there for you, right? So if you want to do best personal training and nutrition coaching in, and then if you wanted to go ahead and change this in, let's say, for example, Dallas, Plano, and Frisco, right? That's where I'm located. So that's what I'm going to put there, right? So we got that right there. And then section number 2, we have get started. We can leave that there. Over here, for people who want to get results, it's up to you if you want to come in and actually change that. Results in less time, weekly check-ins, always with you, real coaching. Again, you're more than welcome to leave that there because we've made this as a system according to the fulfillment, the product that you're going to be delivering, which we're going to be walking you through in an upcoming training. Okay, so that's something that if you wanted to go ahead and change, you could. If you wanted to change some of these icons, you could do that as well. So let me walk you through that, right? So here's an icon. If I click on that icon, I can then go ahead and come down here and it shows me, hey, here's icons right there. Right? And so now I can come in and say, you know what? I want this icon to be different. I want it to look like the YouTube logo, right? So again, you could change it, but I would recommend, I like the one that we've already created for you. So I'm going to leave that one on there for now. Next up after that, right? So we go to the next section. So you see how each of this is a section that we've gone ahead and kind of designed for you, right? So you got the first section, which is the navigation. We then have the second section, which is this part right over here. Now I'm going to also show you in just a second how to actually change the picture here in the background, right? So this picture right over here, it says background image with this lady that's working out over there. Let me actually show you how to change this right now as well, right? So we're going to go ahead and click on this. And then what we do is we then go ahead, and this is the really cool part, okay? This is really where all of these tutorials are like, they are worth their weight in gold. Because what you do then is you go over here to search and use, let's say you say, working out, okay? And you're going to do working out search, but you're going to click on, instead of my media right over here, the really cool thing about ClientKit is they have a partnership with all of the biggest free image resource kind of libraries, right? So you can go over here and you can click on Unsplash, and Unsplash is going to go ahead and show you all of these images are free for you to actually use inside of your website. How cool is that, right? So you can look at Unsplash, you can look at Pixabay, that's another one on there. So if you want to use some of these images, you could do that as well. If you want to go ahead and type in gym, let's say hypothetically, you're like, you know what? I want to use, I like this picture, right? So what you do is you then double click on it and you'll see just like that, it's now changed the picture in the background. How cool is that, right? So that is another thing that you can go ahead and change. You can change the lady in the background there, so that way you are able to go ahead and move that. So that is section number 2. Section number 3 we've talked about as well for people who want to get results, the icons, the different offerings there. You can then go into our programs. And in this section, you can actually go ahead and change this up. So let's say, for example, you're like, you know what? I do not offer movement therapy, okay? So what you can do is you can actually just come in here and you see the purple on there. The purple, you can then just go ahead and actually delete that. Boom. and it's just going to go ahead and delete the entire column, right? If you wanted to bring it back, you could go ahead and do that as well. So that way movement therapy would be back on there. And so again, you can change the verbiage on this if you wanted to double click into this and change the verbiage, but we've gone ahead and done our best to make this 80 to 90% of the way where you would want it to be, right? So one-on-one training, you can change the icons if you really wanted to. Hybrid coaching, if you wanted to change that, you can change the button name on here if you wanted to change that as well. In this case, let's just say hypothetically, I do not offer movement therapy. So I'm just going to take that out hypothetically, right? Just giving you an example. Then we get into the next section, right? So best coaches to help you reach your goals, meet your coach. And then what you can do is you can put a really nice image of yourself right here, right? Doesn't matter where you get it from, but it's going to be a very similar concept where what you're going to do is you're going to go over here, click on the element. You're then going to go over here on the right side, and you're going to go ahead and under image options, hit this little image icon. And then what you're going to do is you're going to hit upload from media library. And then here's your media library. And then what you do is you just upload a picture of yourself that is going to allow you to then go ahead and have that right there, which is a picture of yourself, okay? From there, you can go ahead and write a little bit of a kind of bio about yourself if you'd really like to. So, Coach Morrison, health and wellness played a very, very big role in Coach Morrison's life. After a knee injury, now Morrison is obsessed with helping other people. And it's up to you if you want to write this in the first person. We think that it's more of an organization brand if you write it in the third person. So it's like somebody else is giving you credibility. But again, completely up to you. Certification-wise, if you want to add some of your certifications on there, if you don't even want this entire element, you could just go ahead and delete that right there. Boom. Very, very easy. And so you see, we're just going section by section. I'm walking you through step by step. And again, 80 to 90% of the work is already done for you, but I just want to go ahead and walk you through some of that so that way you're understanding of how all of this works. Next up, let's go into the next section over here, which is going to now be the testimonials. And so here we have over here a slider. Okay. So we have testimonials, what people are saying. Now, again, you're more than welcome. We've gone ahead and given you licensing rights to be able to use these testimonials if you would like. However, we would also recommend if you're at the point in your career which you have other testimonials, we would recommend also using your own testimonials. Okay. And so what you can do is you can just click on the element there. And then once you click on the element, and if the element doesn't open up, you can just go ahead and put your mouse over it and hit that little cog icon. It's going to open up the image slider. And then you can go ahead and add different slides with all of the different images that you want to have on there, right? So you have image slider, you have a different image that you want to add. So let's say add a slide on there. And then you're here on slide number 5. And then once you're on slide number 5, you then have to go in and actually add an image. So you click on the image icon. It's going to take you over to your media library. In this case, obviously this is not a testimonial, but I'm going to go ahead and click on it, double click on it. And then it's going to go ahead and add that image right over there, right? And then of course, if you wanted to go ahead and add, like let's say somebody clicks on the image, you can actually go ahead and add a hyperlink. A hyperlink is basically a button kind of thing where they press it and then opens a link. You can go ahead and do that over there as well. So that's the testimonial side. If you want to go ahead and change the testimonials, you want to drag the order of them, you want to add your own, all of that is something that you can go ahead and do as well. So change the reviews to reviews that you've received from your clients. You can go ahead and do that there as well. Okay. From there, next up, so that is the image testimonials. We then after that have the written testimonials. Okay, so we got one from Becky, Kayla here, Becky. So these are actually just fillers. Okay, so you can use Becky and Kayla. However, what we would recommend, especially if you're inside of the program thus far, you probably are having some clients at least, right? If you don't have any clients, then maybe you can delete this entire section if you want, right? So what you could do is you could just literally come in here and go to the blue, right? So the blue is the actual section. We've talked about this before, and you can actually just boom, delete. And you could actually delete. Now, if you want to delete the entire testimonial thing, you could do that as well. So if you go over to the green section and then you hit delete, that'll just remove the entire testimonial section altogether. So that is, again, another option for you if you would like. However, in this case, I will just go ahead and leave, let's say, 2 of them, which is going to be Becky and Kayla's. Beautiful. So that is the testimonial section. We talked about the image slider, right? So if I click on it and here's another very important thing. Save all the time, right? Save all the time. And then over here, you see we've already gone ahead and filled in your SEO metadata for you. However, we will talk about what your SEO metadata is in an upcoming training. But for now, you can just click update SEO metadata. Make sure that you are constantly saving. Very, very, very important until that orange dot disappears. And then if you want, as you're making changes, you can go ahead and click on that eye icon right over there. And that's actually going to show you what your website is going to look like. Now, this is not your published website final, because what you are going to notice is that it is going to be on the ClientKit domain. And so we are going to have to walk you through in a little bit in upcoming training is how to put this on your own domain, but it's going to show you a preview of what it is going to look like once it gets to that point. Okay. So we'll talk about that, that little pop-up that you just saw. I'll talk to you about in just a second how to edit that, but here's what that would look like, right? So you got your image slider. There's that image that we just went ahead and put there. And then there we got Becky and Kayla and all the changes that we made there thus far. Okay. Next up, we got our schedule. So this is if you are doing semi-private training and if you are doing in-person sessions, which is, in our opinion, the recommended way for somebody to go if they are starting off in this industry. So here, what you can do is you can actually go ahead and update your schedule, right? So what it looks like on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, on Saturday, Sundays. Let's say you only have 2 days, you can go ahead and delete a column on there. So it'll open up 2 columns, right? If let's say, for example, you wanted to actually go ahead and add a column on here. Say, for example, you have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you got, let's just say Monday, Wednesday, then you got a Friday, then you got a Saturday and a Sunday. What you could do is you just come over here to the purple and then you hit this little kind of looks like 2 screens on there. You hit that and that's the clone button. And the clone button will go ahead and actually add another column on there, okay? So that's what that's going to look like there. Now, if it looks a little bit wonky on here, what you could also do is you could actually just go ahead and add another section and say, you know what, I want this to be 4 columns. And so you could do it that way, right? Now, of course, these buttons ended up kind of getting a little bit janky, right? So you might have to come in here and just update the font size of these buttons. And you could just say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and make these, let's say 12 font. Yep. Let's say 15 font. Does that work? No, 15 made it go to the next line. So I might make it 14, right? So you kind of mess around with this and then make it look like the way that you want it. So that was what, 14 on all of them? No, that was what? That was a 12, right? So I could just go over here. I could do 12. I could do 12 and then I could do 12 just like that. And just like that, right? So again, I'm just showing you as things kind of get messed up, you just fix them. It's not a big issue. On this one, it didn't save for just a second there. And then, well, actually, why didn't it actually go down? So on this case, I might have to do, let me see, 11. Did 11 work? Okay, so in this case, it looks like why this one is a little bit smaller might be because you have to drag. So you see how the different column sizes on here? You can actually drag these little purple kind of buttons. You can kind of drag them left and right to see what the kind of sizing might look like. Again, I'm just showing you different examples of how to actually build this out if you wanted to do so, right? Here we go, best personal training in McKinney, Allen, Plano, Frisco, right? So if you want to go ahead and change your city location right there, you can. Where to find us? This is going to be where you can go ahead and edit your address. So again, obviously that's not going to be your address. You can go ahead and change that right there. Chat with us. So this is going to be something that is a chat widget, which is going to actually be the upcoming training. We're going to talk to you about how to include a chat widget. So that way you can collect leads that way as well. And then we also have a form, which is going to be another training where we'll walk you through how to actually add a form to your website as well. So make sure you check out that training that is going to be upcoming very shortly. Next up we have on here, this is going to be the map. So what you can do on here is you just go ahead and click on the map, or you can click on the little cog icon for the orange one there. And then what you do is you have a road map. And then what you're actually going to do here is you're going to click on open search box, okay? And then it's going to allow you to type in your address right there, and it's going to actually show that specific address on the actual map. How cool is that, right? So it's not only a nice visual, but it also gives, especially in a local area, it gives people an idea of, hey, okay, this person is located, next to that park that's very famous in our area, or, the Simi Dog Park, or whatever it might be, depending on where you are located, okay? Next up from there, we then have these social media icons down over here. So let's say, for example, you don't have a TikTok, you do not have a YouTube, you can go ahead and delete that, not a big issue there. But then let's say you have an Instagram, you click on the little pencil icon there, you then go ahead and put in your Instagram link URL right there. Same thing here for Facebook, you go ahead and hit the little pencil icon and then put in your Facebook URL there as well. Now over here, you do see that there is a display type where you can actually display the icon in text, or just the icons, completely up to you. Especially nowadays, these logos and these brands are so popular that people kind of get an idea of, hey, that is Facebook and that is Instagram. But again, totally up to you if you want to go ahead and change that. Okay, next up, that's where to find us. Let's go to the next part here. Ready to finally get results? You can change this right here. We have gone ahead and put together for you, a little bit of a rundown there if you want to go ahead and leave that there. These images, you're more than welcome to go ahead and use them if you would like, or if you want to go ahead and change them, that's completely up to you as well. If you're like, you know what, I don't like this lady, I don't want her there. Boom, you just delete affiliate it, right? Simple as that. If you want to change these images, you just click on them. You just go over here to the little image icon, or if you can't click on them, you go ahead and click on this little cog icon. You then go ahead and click on images, and then you go ahead and upload from media library. Now, in addition to that, I did not mention it yet, but if you wanted to also change the color of these buttons, you can also do that. So you see all of these yellow buttons, right, that you've seen thus far. You can just click on it, or click on the little orange cog when you get next to the actual button. And then you can actually go in and change it to, let's say, green, right? So you want them to be green, or let's say you want your brand to be blue. Now, if you do make it blue, obviously you then might have to change up the actual color of the text, right? So you come down over here. So you change the color background right there. And then you go over here to the color and you change this to white. And it does that right there, right? So just as easy as that, you then go through and you just change all of the different colors. And you say, you know what, I want all the buttons to be blue instead. So again, this is a one-time project. I know it sounds like, oh, there's a lot of small things, but trust me, you sit down, give it like an hour or two, and you'll be able to knock all of this out, especially since we've already gone ahead and done 80 to 90% of the work for you already. Again, I'm going to show you one last time. If you want to change the color to maybe your brand colors, you could just go ahead and go click boom right there. And then you go down over here to color options. This is going to be the text color. You change that to white, and then boom shakalaka, you are rocking and rolling there, right? Last up, we got over here FAQ, and then actually second to last, right? Then I'll show you the footer over here. The FAQ section on here, right? Still have questions. Is the game plan session free? So the game plan session is what we call, it's basically a sales call, but not really a sales call, because a sales call is like, hey, I'm going to sell you regardless of who you are. But a game plan session is like, hey, let's get together. Let's make a game plan and see, hey, this is what the game plan is going to look like if we were going to help you, and see if you'd be a good fit. And if you want to join, awesome. If you don't want to join, no problem. You got something out of that game plan session, right? So that is what that looks like. Now we've gone ahead and put a bunch of FAQs together, right? Is the game plan session in person, over the phone? How do I get started? How do I join? Do you provide guidance on nutrition and recovery? Do I need to be fit to start? What makes Body Forge training different than other PTs near me? So that might be something you want to change, right? So let's say, for example, you're like, you know what? I want to change that right there. All you do is you just click on it. What makes NutriFit Wellness different from other PTs, right? Or other, let's say not PTs. I want to do this at other health coaches near me. So again, you can just go ahead and change that right over there. Now, if you do want to go ahead and organize and change the list, so you see you can drag here on the right side, you can change that. And then let's say, for example, you're like, you know what, I want to edit the actual text inside of it. All you do is you just click on the item here on the right side. Let me go ahead and put this right here, right? So right here, you just click on the item. So let's say list item number 5, and it's going to open that up right here on the left side. And then all you do is you just go in there and just type in whatever you want that text to be. Now, let's say I wanted to change list item number 4. I click on list item number 4, and then I just go ahead and actually change whatever that is in there. Okay. And then over here, you'll see it does have the little plus icon there. If you wanted to add another item at the bottom, if you wanted to delete an item, you can do that. If you wanted to clone one of the items and then start off with that and then change it from there, you see, do I need to be fit to start? Do I need to be fit to start, right? So all of these are things that you can change. And then you also have a couple of different options for the FAQ type, right? So if you wanted to make it contained, so you have that as a display. You have a simple one, right? So it kind of looks like a drop down there, or you have a separated one. So again, these are all things that are the aesthetic that is up to you if you want to mess with, but we've gone ahead and done the work to get you 80% of the way there. Now, if you're like, you know what, I don't want an FAQ section at all. Well, guess what? You just come over here to the green and you can delete that if you actually wanted to, okay? And then here's that button again where you can actually go in and change the color. Now, towards the end, I'm going to walk you through, because this is going to be very important. You are going to need to look at the pop-up, and I'm going to make sure that I talk about the pop-up in just a second, and how all of the buttons on the entire site actually line up to the pop-up, and I'll show you what the pop-up is, okay? So real quick, let's go over to the bottom here, and you'll see that we actually have the footer. Now, for the footer, what you're going to do is you have over here, this is going to be your logo. Same thing that we did in the header, because this is what is known as a header, right? The very top part, this is the navigation or the header, okay? And then the footer is the thing that is all the way at the bottom of the actual website. So what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to go ahead and click right over here, and then you're going to go ahead and go back over to your media library, and I'm going to go ahead and select that, double click on it, and boom, just like that, I've gone ahead and put over my own logo there, right? Now over here, let's say, for example, I'm like, you know what? My entire branding is not yellow. I want it to be blue. And so in this case, what you would do is all you would come over here is you would come over here to icon color. You can change that to blue. And then italic text color, you can change that to blue as well. Boom, just like that, right? Or in this case, you know what? I want it to be white. That's what I want it to be. So I can go ahead and do that. come over here and I go to icon color and make that white and then hit the color again in order for that to disappear right there, right? So again, I'm just walking you through different examples of how to actually customize this, right? And then same thing that we did earlier, if you wanted to go ahead and delete TikTok, and you want to also go ahead and delete YouTube, you could do that if you wanted to. And then you got Facebook and Instagram there. Now, we would recommend going ahead and leaving this kind of client kit image on here, because what that's going to do is going to allow you to, if anybody does sign up for client kit using your website, you are going to be able to go ahead and collect affiliate commissions, right? So that way you are able to actually have a partnership yourself with client kit as well, which is really awesome. So that way, if anybody signs up, I think the partnership with them is 40% recurring that you get if anybody signs up client kit using your partnership agreement, right? So if you're interested in that, I'm sure we're going to go ahead and create some trainings, let the community know, so that way we can create further trainings on how you can create mailbox money using the client kit platform, and you want to refer it out to people who might be in the same industry as us or somebody else that you think might be able to benefit from it, right? So there we go. That is the footer of it. Now, before we close out here, let's go ahead and talk about the actual pop-up, okay? Because what's happening here is that all of these buttons, you'll see if I go ahead and click on these buttons, right? So I clicked on this button and then I scrolled all the way to the bottom, you'll see link to, and it says link to pop-up, right? If I click on this button, link to pop-up. If I click on this button, link to pop-up. If I click on, this is a form, so that's a totally different training we'll get to in a little bit. But over here, you'll see opens and pop-up, opens and pop-up, opens and pop-up. So where is this dang pop-up that we see everywhere, right? So what we do is we go over here to the top, and right over here, this is actually going to be the pop-up button, okay? So if I click on the pop-up button, this is what that opens up. This is the pop-up. Now the pop-up is basically, it has a form in which they're immediately asked for their name, email address, and their phone number. Now, this is how you collect leads. Ladies and gentlemen, especially if you are a new business owner, welcome to the world of being a professional business owner. You collect leads on every chance that you get. And in this case, this is if somebody wanted to schedule a free game plan session. Now, we're going to go ahead and create other trainings on how all of this works and how all of this connects and how to create your forms and put all that together. But for right now, you want to understand that having these different assets, or what they call lead magnets, allows you to be able to collect somebody's name, email address, and phone number, which then allows you to have a lead. And then what you do is mathematically, scientifically, data-wise, right? Now, again, don't get overwhelmed by that. We'll walk you through all of it. But the point is that you collect leads and then you look at the conversion rate in order to get clients. And so if you don't have any clients right now, well, you got to go upstream and ask yourself, hey, how many leads do I have? Well, I don't have any leads. Okay, well, how many visitors to your site do you have? I don't have any visitors to my site. Well, how much outreach are you doing? How much inbound are you getting? All of these are things that you're going to learn. But the point is that you want to understand that it starts with your website. It starts with making sure that you have everything optimized on your website. So you're actually collecting that information when somebody actually lands on your website. And so what you want to do over here is you want to go ahead and change the logo, just like we've been doing so far on the header and the footer. So you go ahead and click on that right there. You then go over here to upload from media library. I double click on the logo, schedule your free game plan session. Now, this right here, this is actually a form. Okay, so you'll see on here, element name, this is a form, and it's taking us to the main website contact form. Now, it's going to be a separate training in which we're going to walk you through how to actually change this form, how this form works, how you can create your own forms, all of that. But for right now, I just want you to know we're going to return back to this, so that way you can actually change and adjust your pop-up so everything shows up on there. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to close the pop-up, and I just wanted to show you that all of these buttons are linking to the actual pop-up. Now, if you wanted to change the text that's inside of the buttons, you can do that over here as well. So you just click on the button, text options, get started, book my free session as well. Okay, so we've now gone ahead and gone section by section by section, and I've walked you through exactly what it looks like in order to make these changes. And in addition to that, inside of the guide that is going to be available for members of the community, you're going to be able to see all of the step-by-step, right? So if you wanted to go ahead and actually print this out and, have it next to you and go ahead and kind of go through every single section and do it that way, or you can just have a list next to you and go ahead and make that list and just go through a game, step by step by step. And then these over here, we've gone ahead and actually already linked these for you. So when you click on programs, it actually does go ahead and bring you down here to the program section. And then when you click on schedule, it actually does go ahead and bring you down here over to the scheduler, okay? And then again, remember, you do want to make sure that you are saving on every single step in the entire process. That's going to be very important. Now, of course, you're not done yet, right? So in the upcoming training, I'm going to walk you through, hey, how do you add the website chat? How do you add the form? How do you actually make sure that you can put this on your domain name so that way when you go live, it shows up on your website? All of that is going to be upcoming, the forms and all of that stuff, okay? But right now, what you want to do is you want to get as much of the edits and the customizing of the template done. And then as you're going through it, you can go ahead and click click on the little eye icon right there, and then that'll show you exactly what that looks like, right? So if I go ahead and look down, there's that blue that we made the change right there. There's those icons. We removed the TikTok and the YouTube on there, right? So we deleted that one lady's picture over here. We changed this over here. We changed all of our FAQs. So again, most of this is already done for you, but you will have to go in and there's that pop-up that shows up, right? So if I click on the button, there's that pop-up and there's that logo that we went ahead and put right there as we were building everything out. So again, you've seen however long we've been going through on this exact training right now, right? It shouldn't take you more than, I would say, an hour, maybe 2 hours. Like literally lock the phone away, lock the door, shut the windows, like no distractions. You can get through this. Do not overcomplicate this, especially with how much we've gone ahead and already helped you get to where it is that you are looking to get to. This is really almost pretty much a ready to run template. All you got to do is you just got to go ahead and make those small tweaks for yourself. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, this has been this specific training in regards to customizing the template. Again, just a reminder, do not overcomplicate this. Okay. Because we have a template that you can just build off of. You do not want to end up being a entrepreneur business owner who wears a failure uniform because you overcomplicated this. And you don't also want to be a unprofessional individual who literally does not spend any time on it, right? So if you come over here and let's say, for example, okay, I'm going to tell you, we're going to see people in the community's websites. If you come over here and this entire navigation header is black and then your logo has a white background on it, right? So imagine if somebody comes in here and we open up people's websites, okay? And then over here, this is what your website looks like, okay? This is, let's say hypothetically, we come over here and you literally have on a black background, you have a white logo, like that's going to look terrible, right? And so at the same time, or it doesn't show up or something, take the time, make it good, invest the time, right? Even if it takes you a little bit longer, I know we've said an hour or 2 hours, but take a few days, like actually make it really, really good because this is what your image on the internet looks like. And don't just think, oh yeah, I do in-person or, I do hybrid or whatever. No. Even in-person people, you better bet the very first thing they're going to do is they're going to go ahead and literally look at what your brand presence looks like online. And so this is representing you in the same way. How does your hair look? How do you dress? How do you speak, right? All of that has a first impression. This is what we're talking about when it comes to your website. You want to make sure that you are setting that first impression well, so that way you can actually grow in your business. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, this has been this training on customizing the template. If you do end up getting stuck, make sure you reach out to the community. There's going to be other individuals who can help you along the process. And hey, if you are succeeding at this and you're like, yo, this was a piece of cake for me, then go into the community and help others, okay? Because this is how a community works. You are inevitably going to have issues getting to where it is that you want to get to with your income goals. And what you're going to do is that you're going to need help from somebody else. But if you never helped somebody else, there's no reason that they are going to help you. And so how it works is that you got to be able to build the goodwill with the community so that way others will see you helping, and then that way they will help you as well. So go out there, get the template customized, and if you have any questions or run into any issues, make sure you go ahead and ask the community. With that being said, we will catch you in the next training.